I've just been doing a bit of clicking on BoxRec, and two things jumped out at me that I perhaps should have already known, but if I'm honest, I didn't know. I hadn't put two and two together in my head. The first is that on May the 9th, Eddie Hearn and Frank Warren are both hosting bills. I mean, don't get me wrong, I kind of knew both guys had fight cards organised. Eddie Hearn in Birmingham, Frank Warren with the Billy Joe Saunders, Chris Eubank Jr. card. But I hadn't really factored in the dynamic that both would be on the same night. This comes at the same time that I see Anthony Joshua is announced to face Raphael Zambano Love. I believe that'll be the headliner for Eddie Hearn's Birmingham card, with Frankie Gavin obviously out. He's now being moved to fight Kell Brook on the pay-per-view card on May the 30th. Anthony Joshua in an 8-rounder against Zambano Love. I can see what Eddie Hearn's doing here. He's effectively nervous of putting Joshua in with an opponent that he will squash in one round, because he realises his card is light and he wants Anthony Joshua to last more than a few minutes. I mean, this Zambano Love, I've seen him fight a few times. His record is 36 wins, 10 losses. Of the 10 losses, of the 36 wins, very few notable wins. Of the 10 losses, he's only been KO'd 3 times. He's never been KO'd beyond before the 6th round, should I say. And recently we've seen him go late in fights with a relatively okay level of opposition. He took Shannon Briggs a 12-round distance. He took Charles Martin 10 rounds before getting stopped by Charles Martin. Whether you like Charles Martin, whether you like Shannon Briggs, both of those guys have punching power. And the fact that he went a combined total of 22 rounds with them suggests that this guy can take a punch, suggests he's got some sort of defensive capabilities. So hopefully he'll give Anthony Joshua a few rounds. It's an interesting fight because presumably if Joshua has a hard 8 rounds, it may affect his preparation for the Kevin Johnson fight on May the 30th, and we may see that pulled. I guess essentially Eddie Hearn's between a rock and a hard place. He probably doesn't want Joshua to have a hard fight because he wants him to fight on the pay-per-view bill against Johnson in a fight that likely will go rounds. But at the same time, he doesn't want to put him in with someone Joshua will destroy in 30 seconds because that will highlight just how weak this Birmingham show is. There's a few other names on the Birmingham bill. There's the likes of Brian Rose, Matthew Macklin, Callum Smith. But as far as I can make out, none of those guys are in notable fights. And I believe Anthony Joshua will be the headline act with Frankie Gavin obviously moved away. The Love fight will be interesting to an extent because I think both Raphael Love and Kevin Johnson are guys who, don't get stopped immediately, and it'd be interesting to see if they can test Anthony Joshua, test his stamina, test how real his power actually is. I do fear that this fight, if it goes 8 rounds, could lead to Joshua being withdrawn from the Kevin Johnson fight. But as I say, I think this is down to Frankie Gavin's situation and Hearn needing to have something at the top of the bill in Birmingham to justify it. Regardless, I won't be watching this bill live. I'll be watching the Frank Warren bill. For me, Billy Joe Saunders against a yet-to-be-named opponent, Chris Eubank Jr. versus the Australian Les Serrington, Mitchell Smith, Frank Buglioni versus Lee Markham. For me, that bill stacks up slightly stronger. That's the bill I'd rather be watching, to be honest. And the idea of the Eubank Saunders rematch is extremely exciting to me. So I'm going to enjoy the build up to that. I see Markham versus Buglioni as a good 50-50 trade fight between two decent but fundamentally limited guys. And I'm looking forward to watching that. I really am. A guy like Mitchell Smith, for me, he's a talented guy, a prospect coming through. I'd rather watch Mitchell Smith against an opponent I haven't heard of than watch Brian Rose against an opponent I haven't heard of. So I'll be watching the Frank Warren card. I think the Joshua fight is potentially interesting. This Raphael Zambano Love, he's not good. Don't get me wrong. He's not going to test Joshua. He's not going to beat Joshua. He's very, very limited. But I just don't know if they'll be prepared to put Joshua in 2 fights that go maybe 6 rounds, 8 rounds. in the course of 1 month. You know, maybe Joshua will prove me wrong and steamroll Kevin Johnson and Raphael Love in 30 seconds. But I think these are two guys who can take a punch. Let me know your thoughts. As always, keen to discuss. Thanks for watching. One other thing briefly. I'm sending out the first Boxing Gossip Weekly newsletter this week. Had a few people sign up for it, but certainly want to add to that list and get it going out to as many people as possible. If you want to be included, please comment below. Please drop me an email, boxinggossip@gmail.com. Just if you're commenting below, include your email ID so I can put you on the list. If you want to just drop me a line to my Google Mail, my Gmail, boxinggossip@gmail.com. Just put something in the subject line like newsletter and I'll add you to the list. Thanks for watching.